52 trial segment is back again. We're gonna pack our bags. We're gonna head to the Olympics, man. We're gonna go back to the Olympics. Go back to Athens, Greece, with our loincloths and our nuts covered up by little grass there, a little leafy shit. Olympics. I always loved the Olympics. Growing up as a kid, absolutely loved them. Me and when I was in high school, me and my cousin, we would watch them, and he introduced me to the Olympics. He got me into them more and more because there was names back then. There was big, huge names. You had the Dream Team. You had Carl Lewis. You had at the time, when I was growing up in high school in the '90s, you had Oscar De La Hoya fighting. It was there was a lot of entertainment. There's a lot of names out there, so it got you going. And Olympics, big part of me growing up in high school, and I loved it. So I would go back, as me, I like to deep dive into shit and check things out. And I went back and I was just looking at all the Olympics when I was a kid. I looked back, and then I remember going back and seeing the Olympics from Germany in 1936, the Summer Olympics in Germany. And again, Hitler was out there hanging out, getting some sun. Him and the guys were out there watching the games. They're watching. I'm sure they were highly pissed because Jesse Owens was out there destroying them. I'm sure they weren't too happy about that. The goal was staying with the pure folks. But the better athletes were out there, man. They were killing it, man. Jesse Owens was one of them that was just, I'm sure, pissing everybody off. But yeah, so you always see the footage of Hitler out there, doing his thing, he's bobbing and weaving, he's all hopped up on the meth and whatnot. But yeah, that was it was cool to go back and look at those films and see all that stuff and to imagine, during a war, the year or during this time when you don't know what this guy's doing and you're having Olympics in his backyard. It was probably a weird time. Flash forward a little bit and I get into, because like I said, I started following the Olympics like 88, 84-ish, and then like I said, my cousin got me really into it, and we watched more in 92, 96, and we were really heavy into it back then. But in 1980, excuse me, Moscow had their Olympics. They were hosting the Olympics, and let's see, at the time Jimmy Carter was in charge, and there was an invasion. There was things going on, shit was happening, and he said, if we're gonna boycott, and if you do decide to go to these games, we're gonna take away your passport and whatnot. So, needless to say, we didn't go to those. We boycotted those Olympics. So 4 years later, 84, cut to our Olympics. We're in Los Angeles now, and like big kids that we are, big children that we are, we take our ball and go home. The Soviet Union, they're like, we're not coming to here, so we're boycotting. Big whoop, who cares? Didn't matter. We still did our thing, Opening ceremonies happened. Reagan was out there, say no to drugs, all that good stuff. Nancy was out there hanging out, doing their thing. But yeah, 84, Los Angeles held the Olympics. There was not much, from what I gathered, what I was looking for. There was not much that, Carl Lewis took some gold medals home. Even Carl Lewis, I think his career spanned from the 80s, 84 to like 96. Carl Lewis was, doing his thing, man. He was a tip-top athlete. The best of the best, man. And a Houston guy, U of H guy. I think even now he's here. He's a coach at U of H, track coach, Carl Lewis. The only thing I can remember Carl Lewis from is not, of course, his Olympic accolades and everything, but the one I take away, then everybody plays his national anthem. It's one of the top three. I think I would put him up there, him and Fergie, and I can't say that. Put my the third one. And like I said, I always told this before. The one with everybody probably say Roseanne, but the one with Roseanne, that was their own doing. That team, that baseball team, I don't know if it was the Padres or who it was that put her out there. So that's on their own, or San Francisco. I can't remember who it was that put her out there, but that was on them. You should know what kind of an idiot she is. You don't put somebody like that to do the national anthem, so that's on them. So I don't even really consider her in the running, but for sure, Carl Lewis and Fergie are up there right on top. In 88, flash forward 88, we get to the Seoul Olympics, and we have that's when we see Flojo, and oh my God, Flojo was a sight to see. Fast, classy, she had the big nails, they weren't afraid, you see them on the track, on the starting line with the nails, sideways like that. It was hilarious, but they were stylish, and I love that, man. I love that sports, I just love that. And the way they dressed, their uniforms, or their whatever those tracksuits they were, it was like a bikini thing, right? And then she had the one leg covered up, and it was really cool. It was and I'll put photos in the images there so you can see what I'm talking about. But they were the first to start doing this and start making their own way and making their own style and not afraid to do this and be fashion forward on the track, and let their personalities come through. I love that about them. Her, Flojo, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and like I said, Gail Devers. They were ones that were very had their hair was always nice, had the makeup on. It's like, why are you doing this? Why can't you look good? Put makeup on. They had the eyelashes on. I mean, they were ahead of their time, man. They were ahead of their time, and they were sexy while they were running. They were attractive women, and so Flojo had set some records and whatnot, and then after '88, there was kind of uproarings and rumors of her doing enhancement drugs and whatnot. So that kind of tarnished that, but she did her thing. And then I think like 10 years later, I think in 90, what did I say, 88, so 90, I think in 98 she passed away. We lost her. And Flojo, and like I said, flashy, loved it, man. Jackie Joyner-Kersee as well, very took some gold home in the long jump. And these women were just amazing. They were real good role models for kids, for young girls. I thought they were fantastic role models. Get to 92, man. 92, I have to say, was when it was prime for me to watch the Olympics. That was the tip for me. Watching, Jordan and the Dream Team was a huge part of 92, massive part of 92. Carl Lewis, again, taking away some, this is when Carl Lewis and Gail Devers took some medals home. And again, this is when, like I was saying earlier, Oscar De La Hoya, his whole story was great, man, about his mom and doing it for his mom, getting the gold medal. And yeah, he came there, he handled business, and he won, man. That's awesome to do that, to promise your mom you're going to get her the gold, and you get her the gold. That's very respectable. But the whole focus on those Olympics was the Dream Team. The Dream Team, hands down. Jordan, they manhandled every team they met up with. There was no chance for anybody to score. I mean, there was always blowouts. It was like 30 to 40 point blowouts. It was just, you couldn't imagine. It was not fair. That was 92, and then we headed to 96, where we kind of shifted to gymnastics arena, and you had that. We won the gymnastics. Was the first time they won gold. And I guess they had the team, and it was called, they called themselves the Magnificent Seven, was the gymnasts. There was, we had Shannon Miller, we had Dominic Mucianu, we had Dominic Dawes, we had Harry Strug, we had Amy Chow, we had, what did you say her name was? JC Phelps. And man, that was a hell of a team. And Jennifer was reminding me of the time that Bobby Hill, he was crying and shit about Carrie Strug, because she made it, and she pulled through, and she did it for America. It's funny. It's just one of those pop culture things that I love, that goes into the cartoons in our everyday life. But yeah, Carrie Strug, she killed it, man. She pulled through. And what was that coach's name? Bella. I want to say Bella Lugosi, because I want to think, Carosi. I'm thinking about Dracula or whatever. I'm not sure what I'm thinking about. But yeah. Carosi. Carosi, yeah. And he had the big push broom mustache, but he was a hell of a coach, and he would push those gals to the limit, man. He'd make them the best. But from what I gather, I don't remember. I think he had got into some legal issues, and I'm not sure, but I think he got into some. There was a, how shit comes up later, how things pop up, and rumors start flowing and shit. But yeah, 96, the gals, the gymnastics, it was a big deal for us. We took gold for the first time in 96. Let's see what else we got to. And that's when the bombing happened. A backpack explodes. They had the thing about Richard Jewell, the whole movie, the whole thing. And I don't even know what came of that, but yeah, those are the big highlights of that, the 96 Atlanta Olympics. 2000, we head to Sydney. That was the first time that North Korea and South Korea marched under one flag together. It was the first time ever. It was, I guess at the time, it was a big deal. Like I said, I was always following this. Like, they always had big names I was following and paying attention. Now, like I said, there's not so much of that. Michael Johnson was a hell of a track star, and him again. He's one of those guys that stood out for me. He was always a showman. He had the gold Nike shoes, and that was like a big deal. He had the gold shoes he was running in, and you can never, Michael Johnson when you see him. If you ever look at his highlights, and I'll throw a highlight in there, and he's running, but he's straight up and down, and he looks like a duck. And I love the way he looks. He's got the perfect form. He's just getting it. And but yeah, he was one of the ones that I always remember seeing that stood out to me. Him and of course, when you get to 2008, you get to Usain Bolt, where he was killing people, man. Usain Bolt was an insane athlete, man. Just insane, man. There was no way you could catch that guy, man. He was tremendous. And in 2008 as well, you also had along came this dude, Michael Phelps, man. He was a huge part of the Olympics 2008. All kinds of awards, man. All kinds of gold medals. 8 gold medals. He destroyed Mark Spitz. You know, he broke Mark Spitz's medals from the Moscow 1972. I think that's what he beat Spitz's records. But yeah, Michael Phelps steps in. That's a whole another name. He's doing Subway commercials. He's all over the place, man. Became a huge star, man. He was everywhere. You couldn't turn the TV on in those times and not see his silly ass face. But he was big. He was a big part of pop culture at that time, in 2008. Going back to the track, which I always love watching the track and field things. Mike Powell, huge, man. He was massive. He holds the long jump record, and that's the world record. But the Olympic world record is held by Bob Beamon, and he's got the long jump of 29 feet 2 inches and a quarter, and so he's got it by just a hair. He's behind a little hair, but that's the Olympic record. And Mike Powell's but Mike Powell and I remember him and Carl Lewis always go back and forth with those. They always had a dueling thing in the long jump. And amazing athletes, man. I was looking back at photos of Mike Powell jumping, doing the long jump, and the guy, when they show these photos of him, they're like he's in midair and it's like he's flying, man. It's insane to see the talent these guys got, man. I just, like I said again, it's the thing, they don't have these household names anymore like you used to, man. And that takes me back to another story of the Dan and Dave thing from Reebok. So Reebok had a campaign in '92. During the Barcelona, the thing too, there was also a beef with Jordan. Somebody said they saw Jordan because at the time Reebok was the sponsor, and he had the Reebok warm up pants on, and they said they saw Jordan covering up the Reebok logo on his warm up pants because he's the Nike guy, and there was an issue with that, so he had to cover that up. But anyway, Reebok had this amazing campaign. The marketing team should have got a raise until the results, but. The marketing team did a hell of a job on this thing, man, with the Dan and Dave Reebok thing. So it was before, like during the Super Bowl, they had commercials of these guys, and it was like a build up. They're talking about these guys, and they're going to compete against each other. Decathletes doing decathlon. Spent a ton of money on these guys, and they're doing these commercials with the sneakers and whatnot. And so the thing is, they're building this up, and these guys haven't got into the games yet. So what happens is Dan O'Brien shits the bed, and he doesn't get in at the trials. He doesn't make it past the trials, so he didn't make it. Dave went on, he didn't really get shit either, but it was a nice build up. It was kind of just it's a kind of a dud, but it was a nice build up. Like I said, the marketing was great on the Reebok thing. I know I bought a couple pairs, not those shoes, but just pumps. I bought Reebok pumps. I was always a Jordan guy, but I liked the pumps because it was something different. And British Knights were a big thing too. I love British Knights, but yeah. So that was a cool campaign, but that got you into this thing. You want to reach people, bring people into the Olympics, and that was one good way. Is that marketing campaign was Dan O'Brien and Dave Johnson, and like I said, that sucked me in and brought me in. But those guys didn't make it. They didn't make the cut. So it's kind of like I said, back to the 2008 thing with Michael Phelps. He continued his thing in 2016. And 2016 they moved it. It was in Rio. First time they had been to South America, and at that time they were facing numbers were growing with the Zika virus. That was a big thing at the time. That was a huge, just like the COVID thing. That was at that time. That was a big deal. So that was going on, but Simone Biles kind of started shining through there. Again, Michael Phelps brought 5 more gold medals home in those games, and then we went to 2020 Olympics. And we were holding Tokyo, but COVID happened, so we had the whole COVID come through, and they postponed those. Right, they saw a spike in COVID numbers, so they kind of made it to where there was no audience anymore. It was just the athletes and whatnot. So that was a shitty those are shitty Olympics, and now we're here to the Paris ones, 2024 Olympic Paris. I saw the opening ceremonies the other day, and it was whatever. It's I guess it's art, I guess. And whoever thought we would see Snoop Dogg carrying the flag, the fire. You know, he was wasn't he? I think he was carrying it, right? He had gold shoes on and shit. And then he had what's that damn thing it's called? Assassin's Creed. I think that's that character that was carrying it at one point too. And yeah, man. So it's Paris is off to a good start. You know, they're doing great. The snails and all that good stuff that they got going on there. You know, can't go wrong. But yeah, I'm not really into it this year. I want to watch a little bit to kind of keep up what's going on. I like to know what's I like to be in the know what's going on and where the medal count is. And but I'm just always curious. But like I said, I wish there probably is. I just don't know them. But I wish they had the big names like the Usain Bolts and all these things to bring you in to kind of draw you into these games. But they don't. As we were making this episode here, Jennifer told me that she was reading about that they have no power right now, so there's no power in Paris right now. I know that we had some big rains that opening thing, and the opening ceremony was having some rains, but apparently they don't have no power right now at the moment. And so I need to catch up on my TV stuff, on my news and whatnot, and get on my TikTok to get my current events, because that's where I get my current events. And everybody knows this. That's where I get my stuff from. But yeah, man. So another travel size segment here for you. Oh, one last thing too. They I don't know how old this is, but I came across it, like I said, on my news source here, and it's the locker from when Kobe scored, from when he scored 81 points to when he went into the Game 7 of the 2010 Finals, and a janitor or maintenance guy retrieved the locker in 2008. He retrieved it. It was I think they were doing renovations, and he saved it from getting scratched up, and he saved it. And I think the locker auctioned off for $1.5 million. I think that's what it was. And portion of the proceeds went to the Lakers Foundation. But that was cool. I thought that was really neat that his locker, they saved his locker. I don't know why they don't do that more often. Like, I don't know why they don't save him for anything. It's got his name in there and everything. It's like his little locker is really cool. And I think he just lost his dad, Jelly Bean, just passed away a few days ago too. So, you know, it's just and well, his anniversary is in March. But yeah, Kobe, man, he was one of the goats, man. Like I said, there's three. Yeah, I'll consider three goats. You know, Jordan, Kobe, and I'll give LeBron his due. He'll be third. But like I said, but other than that, top two, Jordan and Kobe, man. Those are the two goats in my time. Like I said, I know the next generation is gonna say LeBron, but whatever. And again, folks, just so you know, it's not an iconic photo and it's not an iconic moment. Just because LeBron has a poncho on, he's got the American flag, and he's in the rain on a boat. That's not iconic. That's just an idiot with a poncho on. That's all it is. He's not iconic. That's not a memorable moment. No, it's not. When he gets the gold in the basketball team and they blow everybody out, that's iconic. But until he doesn't, they haven't blown anybody out. The last game they had, one of their trial games they had was, I forget what country it was, but it was a nail biter. And they barely won it. I got a buzzer beater or something like that, or not a buzzer beater, but it was a close game. They barely won, and it shouldn't be that close. It should never be that close. But that's LeBron. What do you want? That's his team there. And like I said, I'm not a fan of Steph Curry, and those guys. Terrible team. Like I said, I wish I liked them more, but I don't. But yeah, that was the Olympics, man. Big thing for me when growing up. I loved the Olympics, and I hope. Like I said, I'm going to be watching. Hopefully there's going to be a star that breaks through. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it. So and there's a lot more content coming, but just keep an eye on us and stay tuned.